How do you go from A to B? I can't really do that with my fingers, but you get what I'm trying to say. How do you go from here to there, to the next step, right? And my advice is don't. Actually, don't. Hey everyone, I'm Follygon, and in this video, I want to talk about a question that I get quite often. And that question is, how do I go from here where I am now to more, to that next step? And the reason I said don't at the beginning of this video was not to be super douchey, although it did sound that way, and I'm sorry for that. But the reason I said don't is because if you're questioning that already, and if you're paralyzed by that question, by that fear, then I don't know if you can't move forward with having no answer, I don't know if you're ever going to get to that next step. You see, I don't know what you don't know. Nobody does. Not even you, right? At least that's how I understand it to work. I can't give you a step-by-step guide on how to go from step 1 to 2 to 3. And I can try, of course. I can give you as much information as I possibly can, and in truth, it probably wouldn't be enough to get you there. What I'm trying to say here is that you need to be able to do it on your own. And right now, if you are paralyzed by that question of how do I go from here to there, and you can't try to get started, you can't try to push forward, well, then when real problems really start to kind of come down that lane, right? When the rubber hits the road and you have to be the one to do it, you have to be the one to solve that problem, well, that's kind of where you're going to give up. Now, I get asked a lot of questions about ZBrush, and typically it's a lot of beginner mistakes. Typically it's stuff that, I did when I was starting out, you're going to do when you start, or if you already have, you've already made these mistakes. It's the type of problems that just everybody kind of experiences. And for me, for people that try to create content to try to help other artists, for teachers and that kind of thing, I call this the fishing problem. Help, help, I can't sculpt anymore and I don't know what's going on with this stupid program. Well, if you would have watched literally any intro to ZBrush course or video or any kind of free content online to kind of teach you that stuff, well, it's one of the most common problems, and they probably would have covered it in that video series. Unfortunately, you wanted to search outside of yourself and ask for help before you had the opportunity to kind of discover that answer for yourself or try to learn more about the software to find out what's going on. But what's more unfortunate here is that you're going to ask someone, or ask on a forum, or ask somewhere, and you're going to get an answer, and you're going to get a really simple answer. And unfortunately, you're not going to get the answer that you probably need, which is something that will kind of fix that underlying problem. The answer there, that little nugget, is the fish, at least in my analogy. And when you're a fisherman and someone comes to you every single day and says, hey, can I have a fish? And you give them a fish. And they come back the next day, hey, can I have a fish? And you give them a fish. Well, eventually that fisherman, or you or whoever, is gonna say, look, dude, you need to learn how to fish for yourself. I'm tired of giving you all my fish. So instead of knowing that you need to, come over here and press Control-N on your keyboard to clear your canvas, or you might not even know what that means, what you really need to understand is this is kind of a core functionality that's going on behind the scenes in the software. You can drop a bunch of 2D instances on what is called your canvas/document, and from there you can actually clear that layer of your canvas by pressing, well, Control-N or going up into Layer and going to Clear. And understanding all this stuff about how ZBrush works is really going to help you down the road in a lot of different problems that are going to kind of come your way. But if you only know that little bit of information, oh, this problem happens, press this keyboard shortcut and it's all fixed, well, that's not really going to help you moving forward from there. So I tried to do something like this. I tried to, teach people how to fish. I had a YouTube video series. I have a YouTube video series called How to ZBrush. And I still create content for it, and I still create new tutorials, but the idea of this series was for me to go back to the very beginning and kind of help you build a foundation of learning this software and learning 3D modeling in general inside of ZBrush. I wanted to look at it from a fresh perspective, kind of put on my noob glasses back on, not that I'm an expert by any means, but I wanted to look at it and kind of go through the stuff that I do now that if I would have known back then, could have saved me, a million headaches along that road. But the problem is that even breaking all of that down, ZBrush is still very complicated. There's a lot of information that you have to know. And on top of that, there's also a lot of information that, like I said, you have to know about sculpting and 3D modeling, and that's just a completely different animal altogether. There's a lot of info to kind of digest and learn along that way of building your foundation. So my idea with How To ZBrush, I say at the beginning of this series, the idea is to jumpstart you, get you a really good foundation, and kind of take you from there to where once you had that, you could watch more of my videos, more of my tutorials, and over time, I could still produce more How To ZBrush videos that I kind of considered very foundational information that you should know, or at least that you should watch and have a basic understanding of the software for. But unfortunately, that's not really how YouTube works. YouTube works by very similar to Google. Google owns YouTube, so it makes sense, right? You go to YouTube, you type in the question that you want an answer to, and you kind of a la carte pick and choose what you want to learn and what you want to know. But there is not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you obviously want to find the answer to your question, and I do the exact same thing. But what's so important here, and the purpose of this How To ZBrush series, is to kind of build your foundation so that you can get a lot closer to a point where you're no longer asking the question about what you don't know. It's more of questions about what you do know and how you can use that moving forward. So how do you actually go from A to B or 0 to 100, right? Well, I think it's just about continuing to move forward even when you don't know what the next step is, even when you don't know exactly where you're going, even if you don't know, are you going to B, C, D? You don't know the destination. It's about continuing to move forward. And that's pretty easy, right? You can move forward and stumble through life. You do it every day. I do it every day. But while you're doing that, try to focus on building your foundational knowledge. And I think a great place to start is my How To ZBrush video series. And it's a good way to build your foundational knowledge. It's a completely free YouTube series that I have. There is paid bonus content, but by no means do you need to purchase that to go through the series and get all the information out of there. If you want, though, you can go to my Patreon. Everything that I make on my YouTube channel here, everything that I've made for How To ZBrush is available through my Patreon. That's more of a bonus content. That's why I call it bonus content, for people that do want that little extra info, that little extra 3D models, materials, brushes, all of that kind of stuff. Alright, really quick here at the end, I just want to say, if I ever give you the impression that I know all that I'm doing, I got this all planned out, I know exactly what I'm doing, I apologize. That's not my intent at all. I'm not trying to say I have it all figured out. This is all my opinion, of course, and if I ever give you that impression, I apologize. Definitely not my intention. I'm on this journey with you guys, and my intention is to learn and grow and practice as much as I can, and when I have an opportunity, share some of that with you guys. And thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for watching my content. I really do hope that it helps you out. I truly do appreciate you guys coming here and asking questions. Don't think that this video is me saying, don't ask any more questions. That's definitely not my intention. So please do keep searching, keep growing, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.